Hey guys, so today we'll be talking about RPG mechanics and shooters, That Dragon Cancer, and our issues with games media. Oh, today's game of the day will be Cabal Space Program. Let's get into it.
Oh!
Hello everybody, welcome to CGen. My name is Nathan, and this is...
Kevin.
And today we'll be doing our Namecast, which is... our Namecast. It's our podcast. Yeah. It's our thing where we talk about video game stuff.
Mostly,
and junk.
mostly,
yeah. And we just kind of hang out here. So, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Sure. So today, spurred on by a little more footage being released of The Division, I want to get your thoughts on RPG mechanics and shooters.
I think it's good.
You like it?
Yeah, I mean, I think... I don't know. I guess it means... I guess specifically what RPG mechanics you're talking about, but I think usually they just make games better. So, just... I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit controversial, though.
Okay.
Like, the biggest controversy around it is because the act of playing a first-person shooter is pointing and clicking, and that's entirely skill-based, and that controls all your accuracy, and you can kind of control damage output and stuff that way as well.
Right.
The RPG mechanics don't make sense when they try to, on top of that, control accuracy, control damage, and things like that.
Oh, is that how it works? Okay, I
Yeah.
assumed it was like a class-based system. Like as you level up more, you just get more options in the weapons that you can use.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about like first-person shooters that have like talent trees and stuff like that on top.
Well, I don't know. I thought Borderlands was great, but there wasn't really much PvP in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think in a PvE scenario, I think it's fine. I think there's no reason why not. Like a Fallout or something, that's fine. I don't know.
There's a game that was slammed for it. That hacking game that came out a couple years ago.
Oh, Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty slammed for its RPG mechanics because they're just so bland, and they put like level up mechanics on top of what the players should already be doing and learning on their own, and really it's kind of bad design. So what ends up happening is like your character's just frustrating to play at the low levels. At the high levels, he's just an invincible tank.
So it's no fun.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
No
the
fun
middle
at any
section, I
point
guess.
in there.
It's just a no fun game.
Yeah.
That's interesting, I guess. I mean, I don't know. So instead of like pay to win, it's like play to win, kind of. Or what do you?
Well,
implying,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess?
Well, when you combine like making the character better on top of the player's own skill, which will increase over the length of the game, like it just compounds this balancing issue
Right.
where characters in RPGs especially just tend to get overpowered at the end of games.
Yeah, they do.
Combine that on top of it's basically like multiplying it with the skill the player learns. Just creates this huge.
Yeah, just through playing. So then
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. So then a new player would come in and they'd be like, I can't beat things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the start of the game because
It would suck. Yeah,
the skills. Yeah, it's just
I gotcha.
bad.
That is bad. I don't know. I don't have much more to say about it.
No?
I don't really relate to shooters.
Yeah.
So
Not your most popular genre.
no,
but
it's not my bag of crows.
sure. You're saying
Yeah, you don't say that, bag of crows?
nope.
What's wrong with that? It's like, hey man, I got some murder in this bag. You want some of my murder? I'll give you two murders.
Don't know how
That's how that works, right?
Bag some crows.
Bagging some crows. It's like you go to the club, you're like, hey, there's some crows. Let's see what those birds are doing. Toss a couple worms at them. You don't do this.
Nope.
This is...
No, that is not how I spend my Tuesday evenings.
Oh. Well then, Tuesday evenings.
Don't worry about it.
Fair enough. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm not equipped to answer your question or your quandary, your thing.
Yeah, you should play more RPG-based shooters.
I guess so.
Destiny and stuff. Most of them are PvE-based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does Destiny do levels? Because I know it does levels.
Yeah, so it gives the player more... It gives them abilities that are kind of more like classic RPGs. So like you can throw fireballs and...
Oh, yeah.
crap like that. They don't really affect the shooting stuff other than damage output, and it does that in like kind of a Borderlands type way. Where your damage output's like dependent on her weapon and stuff, and there's actual health bars and stuff. So that kind of helps damage mechanics and stuff like that in RPG shooters. But still, it's also weird. It's just weird having to shoot something like a million times because their damage is low and their health is high.
Yeah, I tried to get Destiny the other day, and then I realized it wasn't on like PC, and I was like, oh, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm never gonna play this game.
Yeah, it's on PS4.
It is.
You have one of those.
I do have one of those, but if I'm gonna be playing PS4, I'd rather play something I'd like probably enjoy. But I'm okay with playing shit like I don't really enjoy that much on PC because I don't know. Yeah,
Destiny beta was enjoyable.
Yeah. I imagine it was. I don't know. I don't think it's something I'll ever get into, so I'm just gonna.
It's fair.
Say no to that one. Okay, we're gonna dip into my topic here.
Okay.
We're gonna hop on in. Also, I think I was subliminally influenced.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't read your shirt, but I think I saw it, and that's what made me say crow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I was like, why would I say crow? That's like such an odd thing to say, but I think it was the shirt. Anyway, so my topic. Have you heard of this game, That Dragon Cancer?
I have heard of it, yes.
Okay, so basically, do you know the story, or do you have an idea?
Not that much, no.
Okay, so it was a husband-wife team who kind of made this game, and they actually had, I believe, their son. He was, I think, 5 or 4 when he was diagnosed, and to my understanding, he died, which is quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
And they decided to make a game about it to, I don't know. I think just not vent, but just need to get something out, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they do. That's how they show it. What do you think of that? And how do you think of video games being like that? As just like a bit of a catharsis for someone? Do you think that's good for the industry? Do you think that's bad? Do you think?
I think it's kind of a progression of video games as art, so I like it because really it's about like them sharing the experience they had,
right?
Which, like, plenty of songs are written about experiences people had,
right?
So yeah, I think it's really just a similar thing. It's another way for people to share, experiences. One of those I'd be like really deeply emotional.
Yeah, clearly.
One, and I imagine one of their big purposes of the game is to try and make people feel the way they did, at least to some extent.
Right.
As part of understanding.
I guess so, yeah, but like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like where that game belongs. Like, it's weird. You know what I mean? It's weird. I mean, it's great that it's out there, and that's fantastic. On the negative side of things, where I didn't want to say this topic, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to throw it out there, and I don't think this is the case, but on some level, someone could make the argument that it's kind of messed up that they're capitalizing on their son's death. I know that's terrible, and I don't personally believe that's the case. I do think that they're trying to vent, but I don't know. What do you think of that potential argument? I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, I know, but it kind of went through my head for a second. I was like, well, I don't know.
To some tiny extent, there's a point there, but it's such like a minute point because it's not like they advertise the crap of the game or like.
Right. Well, it's pretty big right now.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty big right now, but it's not. It's not because they like paid people off or like put ads on TV or crap like that. They're not trying to make as much money off of it as possible. They made a game that was deep and meaningful for them, and to try and stop that because hey, you shouldn't take advantage of this situation to make money is just silly because then we never get experiences like that.
Right.
And
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's negative. If we can't have like those deeply emotional experiences that mean a lot to the developers, then why or how would games ever be, an art form kind of?
Right. So as a game progresses as an art form, how would something like that look as like a AAA title? Like, do you think if something like that would ever happen or no? Or these weird experimental things? Because I don't know.
I always kind of like fall back to movies to think about things like that, like the big movies, and a lot of those just really aren't meaningful unless they're like book adaptations.
Okay. I think I don't entirely agree with you, but I think I see what you're saying.
Like, well, when you think about something like Transformers, like that's a huge production and it's very obviously produced to crap, and there is no like, there isn't the heart and soul of one person in that.
Right, because it's such a
combination of everybody trying to make the products that's going to sell the most money.
Right.
And if you're in a big studio that has like shared stock and they're just trying to make money, if that's the purpose of their business, then you're also going to get that sort of a product where it loses personality, I guess.
But I mean, so was Star Wars, the newest Star Wars. So like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really good. I
Yeah.
think it does have a lot of personality.
Oh
to
yeah,
it,
well,
but
it has personality onto itself, but it's not personally deep or tied to a single person.
okay, give me an example. It's not a Michael Bay movie.
An example, it's not a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
All the Marvel movies.
All the Marvel. Oh,
Yeah,
really?
they're all super produced.
They
They're good.
are
I'm not
super
saying
produced.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying they aren't good or anything, but they also aren't like a deep experiment. Like
They kind of
like the
follow a
game.
formula, right? Is that what you mean? Or
no, they're just polished, and so many people work on them and have so much say in what the final product is.
so that it becomes the most
Yeah.
desirable thing, essentially.
Yeah, so it's not like somebody like trying to make this artistic vision that they have in their mind. It's a bunch of people collaborating to make a product that's going to make money.
Right.
Yeah, so I think if it's a studio like that, like a big studio that's making a product in order to make money, then yeah, it's not going to have, you know, a person's heart and soul representative. It's not going to be representative of a single person's vision.
Right. I see what you're saying. I guess I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, but with games, there is like a primary creative director. How much say does that individual have over the specific product? Or
Not that much.
not really?
It's like if you think about how much. So a creative director for a game, they aren't going to be able to control every single mechanic that goes into that game.
Right.
Or every single level in that game or all the pieces that make up the game. They get people to make those things from scratch and bring them and prove them. Like,
Right.
just kind of how the chain of things works. The creative director cannot make it all on his own
Yeah.
or her own. So it's just got to be, it's got to be collaborative if you're going to make a big project like that. And even then, the creative director has peers like the lead producer and, you know, other people at that level, like the lead business people as well. They're all going to have say in the product, which is equal to the creative producer.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess it's making me then think back to, so primarily this type of game, like this type of this is my deeply emotional personal story kind of game, is gonna be kind of relegated to like a very small independent team.
Yep.
I guess moving forward. But you said something to me, I think it was last night, that I don't know, kind of threw me off a little bit. And we were talking about independent games, and we were bringing up Team Meat. I believe that's their name.
Yep.
Yeah, and I said Binding of Isaac's an independent game, and you're like, well, no. You said, what did you say specifically?
Well, I was bringing up the question, if a small independent team has all the money in the world to rely on, which is a
Not all
similar
the money in the world.
Well, not all the money in the
Super
world.
Bowl
but
wasn't that big,
that's an
dude.
exaggeration. Basically, they aren't going to go bankrupt. They don't have any looming threat of money. If they have that backing behind them, which is the same backing that a publisher will give you, are they still independent?
Yes, I think so. And I don't know. I found it a little concerning that was like, you being someone who's a little more in the industry than I am, obviously, that's kind of a mindset regarding that. So like, to be an independent developer, you have to be like not scraping by, but it has to be like do or die. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're not. I don't know. I don't think the market's going to grow if that's the case. Because yeah, there's a lot of indies out there right now, but there's an indie that shuts down every single day, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
That's- it's kind of become like the precedent, and these people are going crazy, having mental breakdowns. Like what's his name, Fish? He went
Fish.
fucking crazy.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
crazy to begin with.
Yeah,
but
it's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like it is happening a lot.
Yeah. That's the other part of it too, is like, because they have all that money and success already, they aren't under that same pressure as the other indies. And that money also gives them access to resources that them before Super Meat Boy and other indie developers, they just don't have access to the amount of resource they could potentially take advantage of because of.
I see what you're saying with regards to I see what you're saying with regards to this, the classification of them. But my issue is more with the status quo with regards to indies in general.
Well, yeah, generally the term indie game's more of a buzzword now than anything actually meaningful.
Yeah, no, but I mean specifically just the state in which these individuals make games, and it's just kind of like, well, it's kind of fucked up, dude.
Well, yeah. If you watch Indie Game the movie, you get to see
you get to see a bit
kind of
those guys are
they go through.
Yeah, it's not good. Like you would, I don't know. I guess it's like the small like home business, like those people have heart attacks and stuff like that, and they get intense. But it's I don't know. It's interesting.
Yep. So it's a very, very stressful, tough business to be in.
Yeah, and most of the fan base is kind of terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
There's a lot of jerks out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not going to say what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of feel embarrassed sometimes to like tell people that I'm really into video games because not the entire community. There's some fantastic people out there, but there's a very vocal. I don't know if it's a majority. I hope it's not a majority, but there's some like gamers are assholes, man.
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch. I think really
maybe they're just very vocal, but
it's a very stereotypical vision of gamers right now is like the kids on Xbox Live who
and
yelling that they slept with your mom and stuff.
Well, just the whole Gamergate thing and like fuck, I remember when Call of Duty, when something happened, I think they changed the way a gun worked and kids were calling this guy's house telling them they're going to kill him. That's fucked. Or like swatting. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like
yeah,
that's like terrorist level shit. Like that's terrible. Why?
Yeah, it is
why?
terrible. It's weird because like it's a community that obviously everybody in it's like passionate for games, whether they're assholes or not. Yeah. But these are also people who tend to be a little more technologically inclined. So we're starting to see new ways to do asshole-ish things using technology.
Bullies,
such as swatting. Like that didn't really exist so much on the same level because like you had to like know somebody's house and stuff. But it was really hard to like figure out that information without being at least somewhat tied to that person. Now you can be like almost completely anonymous and.
But I guess the issue I have is that why would you even want to do that to someone? Like that's
I know.
I don't know. What would motivate someone to do that?
I think those people like honestly have mental issues and need to see help because that's lacking a huge amount of empathy that like people should have. Even if you had the slightest amount of empathy, then you'd understand like, oh, I shouldn't do that because that would absolutely be terrible if somebody did it to me.
So I guess what do you see the gaming community like changing at all? Like I don't see it improving. I only see it getting worse, to be honest.
Honestly, I don't think it's changing at all.
As it's proliferating. You don't think it's changing at all? I think it's becoming, I don't know. With the whole Gamergate thing and just like I guess you're just hearing about the assholes more because the way media works.
Yeah, you definitely hear about the assholes more, but I don't think it's actually worse. Like there's nothing driving it to get worse.
Right.
It's not like these things are becoming popular. And it's not like Gamergate was entirely asshole-ish either.
What was it specifically?
Honestly, it was one of the most hilarious misunderstandings of a while. So a lot of it, like the Gamergate side, was basically arguing that video game journalism kind of sucks, which I agree with them on. It's pretty damn shallow.
Well,
then the other side was arguing that video gamers are sexist. Those are two completely different arguments.
Oh, okay.
And they were arguing with each other. And how that happened was actually more so through trolls. People on both sides like trying to feed that argument and stuff. And because originally one of the big things that sparked all the hate in video game journalism was a female who slept with a bunch of video game journalists to get press on her game. Oh. Basically. Well. And yeah, a bunch of feminists and stuff like defended her. Whether they're right in defending her or not, it's a whole other. That's for debate, but the debate very quickly moved past that, and then it was just people on one side arguing about video game journalism and the other arguing about sexism in video games, and yeah, it was just a mess.
That's interesting.
It's kind of one of those internet things that just run out of
Quick note
control.
on the video game journalism thing, though. It doesn't really exist because it can't really exist. Because, like, once you... You know what I mean? Like, once you uncover something breaking, the studio will just, like, kind of block you and be like, nah, you're not getting our games anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah, it's another
It
point
can't
that-
really happen. Like, pretty much everything you read on IGN, like, you shouldn't call those people journalists. They're not journalists. They're entertainment writers, sure.
Yeah.
No different than, like, TMZ or something like that, or People Magazine.
Yeah, well, it's not like that's not something that can't be fixed, as like movies don't have that issue, and the reason for that is because there is basically a board for movie reviewers, and
Yeah.
they're protected.
Oh, so you're
It's
talking
either-
specifically about reviews?
Well,
What do you
like-
mean specifically?
Well, that lets you. That's what gives you early access, so that you can get things out on time. You need early access to products to get
Oh, obviously, yeah.
stuff just for popularity's sake. Like that's honestly the most important part, other than retrospectives and stuff, which it's another topic. But if they have early access, then they can put out journalism on the launch
Yeah,
day when
obviously.
searches are highest, which is great. At the moment, though, if they are too critical about games and stuff, if they can potentially harm the sales of the games, there's quite a number of publishers and stuff who will just cut off early access to that person specifically, because they can cut off access to a person
Yeah.
specifically. That's not the case in movies.
Because it's a union thing, or?
Yeah, it's sort of a union. I think it's more like a board, and if you're
Yeah.
part of it, then you get access to early shows.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
that specific thing isn't really even on the part of the journalists themselves. It's more on the industry as a whole, or what do you mean specifically? Like,
It's definitely something that the industry and journalists need to work on together.
yeah.
Like to say, hey, this is going to benefit everybody in the long
Yeah.
run. But
Do you think something like that will happen? Because
I don't know.
they're
I could
so
see
competitive
publishers
with
being
each other.
very, very against it.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want someone saying negative things about your game.
Yeah.
I remember that when that happened with Jim fucking Sterling's son. Do you follow him at all? The Jim
Jim Sterling?
Position?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good shit.
He is.
And he's
Very
really
entertaining.
good, but he's gotten blacklisted by a lot of studios because he says exactly what he thinks.
Yep.
And it's not always nice.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
it is messed up. It's yeah. I guess you could always do things after they release, but it's so much worse. That's what sucks about it. Not having that early access is you can't get things on time, and yeah. Hopefully,
And
it's something
then-
that improves in the
Yeah,
future.
like it'll be like a fraction of people that actually see the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was an episode.
I think so, yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.